going on, everybody? Welcome to Cocktails in the War Room. I am your host, Mistress Carrie. This is the War Room, and welcome to episode 300. If you can believe that or not, which I still cannot, episode 300 is tonight, the first episode of the new year, the first episode since before the holidays. And I got to welcome everybody on Facebook, Instagram, Twitch, and YouTube. We started Cocktails in the War Room back on March 14th of 2020, and we rode out the height of COVID 80 nights in a row, almost developed a drinking problem, and then we launched the Mistress Carrie podcast, and we turned Cocktails in the War Room into a weekly show. So we get together every Tuesday night at 8:30 to talk about music, to talk about life, to talk about what's going on in the world. We are also the biggest support group, and life has thrown us some curveballs. There's been a lot going on, and we have a lot to talk about tonight. So I want to say hello to Sherry on Facebook, Christina on Facebook. Let me see. JW Gallo on Instagram, Dina on YouTube, Jessica on Facebook. Denise is joining us. For anybody that's new to the War Room, by the way, we have some inside jokes and some terminology that we want to cue you in on. So if you go to mistresscarrie.com and you go to the Cocktails in the War Room section, there is something we affectionately call the dictionary, which is our glossary of terms and inside jokes so that the War Room OG family, as they have named themselves, don't leave you behind with some of the inside jokes that we have. So you can go there and check out all the inside jokes and all. It's taken us almost 5 years to compile this pretty extensive list of inside jokes. So that's the dictionary. You can find it at mistresscarrie.com. And if you're new to the War Room, make sure you let us know, A, that this is your first time joining us, and B, where you're watching from, so that the War Room family can welcome you properly. Now, before we get to this week's guest, I want to introduce you to my co-hosts. If you are new to the War Room, we have what we call the Pug Cam. And, well, it's the camera for the dogs. This is Wednesday, the Goth Pug, my original co-host. And the little shit pain in the ass behind me is the newest member of the family. This is Friday. Say hi, Friday. You can follow Wednesday at Wednesday the Goth Pug on Instagram, by the way. Friday has not earned her own Instagram. She's still biting my hair, and she doesn't get an Instagram quite yet. Before we, whoa! She just wrapped herself up in the Happy New Year balloon and scared the crap out of herself. That was amazing. Before we get to our guest this week, which I'm super excited that we're going to start the new year in episode 300 with someone that has way too many stories about me. On a serious note, I want to thank all of you guys for all of the love and all of the support. About 36 hours after Cocktails in the War Room in December, my mom passed away. And it's something that we have all discussed so many times here on the show. When I found out that my mom had been diagnosed with Alzheimer's and dementia, we talked through it here in the War Room. We have been a support group for each other. We have shared information and stories. I know a lot of you guys are earlier in the journey of a parent or grandparent's illness. We've discussed making plans and having really hard discussions with your loved ones in preparing for this kind of news and this kind of a diagnosis. And so we lost my mom on the 19th. I got a call at 5:00 in the morning that my mom had spent the night with headphones on in her bed listening to the Beatles, and she just stopped breathing in the middle of the night. And that was it. It's not a phone call you want to get. Obviously, when somebody calls you at 5:00 in the morning, back in the old WAAF days, it was not that uncommon that I got called at 5:00 in the morning. But I don't get those 5 a.m. calls very often anymore. And so I had an idea that it was bad news. So then I had to call my sister, call my family. And it was just really, really difficult, especially around the holidays. I do want to share with you guys, though, that we have had so many conversations here in the War Room about advanced planning and about making arrangements and having difficult conversations with your loved ones that may be getting older, about getting documents in order, about finding out what their wishes are. And if I can give you any advice, having gone through what I've just been through in the last 3 weeks, the decisions my sister and I made to prepare for losing my mom were the best decisions we made. Because when you get that call that you have lost a parent, I can't imagine going through a sudden loss, a car accident, like something like that, where you had no time to prepare and it just happened. Because of the nature of my mom's illness, we had a lot of time to prepare and we took advantage of that time. I can't imagine having to plan her services and all of those things from scratch, because we took the time ahead of time to do them all. And so they were minute decisions that needed to be made. And that allowed us the ability to grieve in real time and to be able to focus on what was important, which was making sure that all the little details were taken care of, making sure that the family, everybody did and got whatever they wanted in order to be able to pay tribute to my mom. And so all of the discussions that we have had here in the War Room about having those difficult conversations and getting things in order and making sure that your loved ones know what your wishes are, even if you're not old, even if you're not sick, having these conversations, have them for the people you love, because if you're the one that's gone, it's going to make dealing with your loss so much easier on the people that you love. And that is something my sister and I are so grateful for. So I wanted to share a few pictures before we get to our guest this week. That's my mom's high school yearbook picture, which a lot of people tell me I look strikingly similar to my mom. That is me as a baby on my mom's lap. That's goth mom there. Obviously, my mom had a sense of humor like no other. And so those are some more recent pictures of my mom before she got sick. And Penny says, my aunt passed away suddenly on the 28th. So that's the kind of stuff we're talking about. So I wanted to thank you guys because Mike Shue showed up at my house with flowers from the War Room family, which I was so just humbled by. The amount of emails, text messages, posts on social media, I have received so much love in every way modern technology can deliver it. And I have had a really hard time trying to get back to everyone. So I wanted to take this opportunity to thank all of you guys at the same time, because I did get your sympathy cards. I did get your messages, your tweets, your Instagram comments, your Facebook comments. To all of the Mistress Carrie Backstage Pass holders on Patreon, I got all of your messages. It was overwhelming to get that much love all at once. We were able to have my mom's services after the holidays to give people a chance to travel and to make sure that all of her arrangements were made exactly the way that she wanted them to be. And it's one of those things where you don't get a chance to do it a second time. So you want to make sure you get it right. And my sister and I, because we spent time planning and working on things, we really did feel like we were able to get it right for my mom. And so I just wanted to take a minute to thank you guys. One of the people that when I looked up at the services that caught my eye is our guest this week, who I have known since, I don't know, I was 8 years old, because it's not possible that I'm old enough to be able to say that I've known him for almost 30 years. But episode 300, I needed to have somebody that I could reminisce some funny stories with. And so that person had to be somebody that's known me a long time. So welcome Ian Barrett, the producer of WAAF's Real Rock TV, to episode 300 of Cocktails in the War Room. Hi, Ian.
Hello, Carrie.
Okay.
You again.
Hold on. I'm not hearing you right.
Better? Is this better?
Can you guys in the comments let me know if you can hear Ian or not?
How's that? Better?
No, I want to make sure that you are coming through my audio mixer. I think you're coming through the speaker on my computer. But these guys will let me know. This is a high technical show, Ian. You're not allowed to criticize the inability to plug things in correctly.
See, Keith Denny from Angry Hill is watching the show right now.
Is he? Okay, Denise says you sound muffled and very soft, so I don't think...
All right, I'm turning the gain all the way up. How's that? Is that better?
I think it might be on my end. Hold on one second. Let me see. I think you might... I don't know why I'm not hearing you the way that I need to.
All right. Full gain right now.
No, I think it's me, Ian. It's not you. It's me. I just don't understand why your audio is not coming through my mixing board the way that it needs to. Friday, can I worry about the audio of the show right now? Do you have to be sniffing the microphone right this very moment? We have a lot of things to talk about, and
let me swap. I'll swap the mic while you're doing that. Hold on.
All right, hold on. I apologize to everybody watching. Welcome to the War Room. This is what happens. Voorhees says he's quiet and there's a bit of echo in here. Definitely his fault. No, it's definitely my fault. I'm just trying to, oh, here we go. Audio. I think I figured it out, Ian. Oh my God, you're going to be.
Is it working now?
Oh, hold on. I think I figured it out.
Oh my God.
Hold on. I think I figured it out. Can you hear me better now?
See, he sounds far away still. Let's go. How about now? You've got to do.
Now you're still coming through my speaker in my computer. Hold on. Oh, wait. I think I just fixed it. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Oh, God damn, I'm good, Ian. God damn, I figured it out. It was my end. I told you it was my end.
Buttons are tough. Buttons are tough.
Buttons are tough.
I thought you had like little pugs that you trained to do this job.
Look, we started this show in the height of a lockdown with me talking into my cell phone.
Exactly.
The technology's gotten a little better, but the quality of the broadcast has not improved all that much, and that's user error.
Yeah, but the quality of the broad in the cast is 100%.
A Fallen Tragedy on Instagram says, you did it! Brett says, victory. Michael Tallman says, there you go. Let's see. Keith says he is echoing. He shouldn't be echoing now. Somebody call the Geek Squad, says Eric. Echo. All right, now hold on. Now I need to figure out what the fuck is echoing. But at least you're running through the board now, so at least, I'm slowly figuring it out.
How's that?
No, it's on my end. It's always on my end.
The fans love this kind of stuff.
Oh, I know they do. I know.
They go on stage with the guitars tuned to the wrong key.
Look, this is 300 episodes in, and I haven't had one perfect show. It's never happened. It's probably never going to happen. The OG War Room family knows this. This show is all the trained monkey, i.e. me. That's all it is. All right, hold on. Let me see.
Well, you told me I had to have a cocktail, so I grabbed some single malt, and that's what I'm got with me here. So I'm just going to have a little sip while you're pressing buttons.
Hold on. I'm going to turn you down a little bit here. Mm-hmm. Oh, you're drinking. Oh, good. Wait, hold on. Me too. Cheers. Copper mug means Moscow Mule on the show, by the way. So cheers.
I didn't have any ginger beer, otherwise I would be joining you.
Oh, it's my favorite. We ran out of ginger beer and limes the week of the funeral. My husband makes a mean Moscow Mule. And that's a good thing because I needed him to that week.
You needed it.
Yeah. So before we talk about all of the memories that we have and all of the crazy things that we've done in the, few years that we've known each other, on a serious note, when I was looking out at all of the people that showed up at the services and saw you in that big crowd of people, I just kind of lost it a little bit. It meant a lot that so many people that I worked with at WAAF. I mean, look, everybody, we always called ourselves this dysfunctional family, right? But so many people that we worked with at AAF showed up at my mom's services, and it just meant a lot. So I really, really appreciated that. Not only did you come to the services, but then you came back to the house and drank with all of us, which was great. So you got to spend a lot of time with a lot of my family all at once.
Well, listen, when there's beers on ice, you don't say no.
Yeah, there were buckets of beers on ice.
Buckets of beers. Somebody had to help, and I was there to do that. I knew my job. It was so great to see so many people. Great to see your sister. Great to see people I haven't seen in, honestly, in years. And, COVID separated a bunch of us, right? In a really odd way, your mom brought a bunch of us back together again to say goodbye, and that was a big deal. I went through the same thing that you did a couple of years ago with my dad. You gave great advice, absolutely great advice. Now is the better day than tomorrow, and I think that anybody who's going through that should absolutely appreciate that. And that service, that ceremony is beautiful. You were so prepared. I really, I was honored to be there. And this is obviously a toast to you and your mom and your family for doing an amazing time off. Everybody deserves to say goodbye that way.
Thank you. And you got to spend time with Mr. C, as he is known on the show.
I'm looking forward. I understand the man's going to be, starting a paper route soon or something.
He retires from the Marine Corps at the end of the month, which is crazy after 28 years. So
that is amazing.
Yeah.
I'm sure that there's going to be lots of little jobs for him to do around the house. I'm sure you got a nice worksheet plan for him for his deployment at your bunker. Yeah.
We're definitely. I mean, he's still down in North Carolina. By the way, guys, I turned the speaker off on the computer. Can you hear it better now? Just want to know.
Yeah,
too much echo, not enough cowbell, says Eric. I turned the speaker of the computer off. Come on now. I still can't understand a word Ian is saying, says Michael Cole.
I'm like, all right, I don't know what's going on here.
It sounds like there's two Ians. Look, the world can't handle that, okay? The world cannot handle that. Oh, God damn it. Hold on.
How's that?
I don't know. It's me, Ian. I'm telling you it's me. And I've done this so many times and have never had audio problems like this before. So maybe it is you.
First, when you said Skype, it's like, oh my God. All right, hold on 1 second. I'm going to talk amongst yourself for a moment.
Yeah, I'm going to talk amongst myself here. Noise cancellation. Default microphone settings. You guys let me know if it gets better. Michael Cole says, talk, Ian. Does he have his speakers on? Carrie, never leave it to the camera guy, says Bish. Is Ian talking into a toilet? Ian, the love is strong, man. That New England love is strong. We even tested this thing before we got on, and I said he broke it. They said on Instagram. No, the way that this all works, because we're managing multiple streaming platforms at the same time, the settings are so freaking temperamental.
Yeah.
When it comes to this streaming stuff. So I am.
All right, I'm just in case.
Okay, let's try that. I just changed the setting. Is it better now?
How is that? Is that better?
Let me see. Cheers to mom. Thank you guys, everybody. Viva Tequila makes limoncello seltzer, says Will. I need to know that. If he has 2 Skypes on it, it will cause an echo. All right. See, now I need to figure out, do I have 2 Skypes going? Shh. How is that? Is that better? Guys, did I figure it out? Ian, can you hear me? Or did I just turn the microphone off to Ian and now he can't hear shit? It's Zuckerberg's fault, says Tallman. No, it's not better. Did any of Ian's, let me see, hold on.
Now I can't hear you.
Okay, I just turned my mic back on. That was all me. I was just trying some stuff.
I can't believe it.
Why would anything go technically right with, you may not be able to hear because your speaker volume is, no, it's the speaker volume is fine. What the F? I'm getting all these little alerts on my screen. All of the years that we were at AAF, we literally lived by like duct tape, making things work. We were constantly fixing things like, that were broken and fixing them on the fly. And now that's what I'm trying to do here. Ian left. He left.
I'm back.
Stop giving him excuses, Carrie, says Tim. Social, says Tracy. Yeah. So one of the things we do on the show is we drink a social if there's something broken or if something is screwed up or if I make a mistake. And yeah, this whole show is a social. All right. I think I'm going to try one more thing.
The screen right now, so on Instagram they can only see half of the screen.
Oh, really? All right. Well, hold on. Let me fix that then. I can make you the whole screen. Look at that. Ooh.
You do not want to. You can swipe back and forth. You can be on.
Yeah, I have a button for that. I can do that too. Ian, this is a high quality show when I get it working.
I appreciate it. I personally appreciate it. That's amazing.
I'm just trying to figure out if it's my Skype screen that's screwing you up. I got to figure out, they just launched a Zoom application for this software, and yeah. I got to get it to work here. So hold on. Let me.
What we should do, what I can call this, I can take a rain check on this and then come see you next week and do like 300.
Debt version 2.0, episode 300, the do-over. No, I'm going to fucking figure this out, Ian.
Okay, I'm excited. I'm here.
I'm excited, he says. I know that it's me. I just don't know why it's me. I don't get it. All right, hold on. What if I do that? Is that better now?
I can hear you.
I can hear and see you. Can you hear and see me?
I can hear and see you perfectly.
Okay. Oh, for fuck's sake, he's on full screen. Now the screen will break, says Eric. Are we getting we're getting more snow in Kentucky, says Jessica. We will fucking get this, says Jonathan. What happened was the condensation in the nucleus had a reaction. He sounds like, with the vector of the angle, says Keith. He sounds like a really bad 80s science fiction thing. Tracy says it's better. I think I figured it out.
Okay. I love it.
I think I figured it out.
Maybe you should put tape on these buttons with little colors and sticky tape and little notepads.
Penny says it's the exact same sound. Penny, why do you have to be the deliverer of the bad news? Penny, why do you have to do that to me? Hold on, let me... Don't do that to me. He still has a weird echo thingy. No change. Ian's hair mousse definitely got into the motherboard. Dude, it's just like AAF 5 years later.
Shots fired. Shots fired.
Tracy is drunk. Does Ian have any idea what he's dealing with, says Keith. Yes, he has an idea. How many episodes of the show did we do on freaking...
Real
Rock TV. How many drunken Friday nights did we spend in the old AAF studio?
Our first day on the radio together. I mean, that was epic. I told my car, we were coming back, DC fishing with Clutch. like a completely railed on the highway.
Oh my God, I forgot that that's what that was.
Right. That's how we started.
Wait, I think I figured it out. Is it better now? Well, how about now?
Is it working now?
Yes.
Is it working now?
Brett says it's your mother's ghost. You guys are evil bastards. I think I figured it out. I think I got it. I think I got it. I think I got it. I think I got it.
I like it. Take a picture of it with your iPhone.
Yeah. No, because it'll change. The next time it'll just change.
That's awesome. Yeah, no, our first, I mean, it started crazy because we had gone out up to, I don't know, was it Marblehead or like Gloucester to go deep sea fishing with Clutch.
Yeah, Neil Fallon loves deep sea fishing.
Yeah.
And we were like, what can we do with the guys from Clutch? And they were like, we want to fish.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, let's go fishing then.
And that's in the days when they booked a boat, the record company booked a boat, put us on a boat. We shot the episode for Real Rock TV. We went out fishing. Do you remember the record rep? Got so sick that she threw up the whole time.
She was so seasick on the boat that she was like, oh, she didn't even care what the band was doing. And she was there to babysit the band to make sure that they didn't look stupid. And she was so nauseous. And then remember, Neil caught a fish.
Yes, he did.
And then he went to throw it back, and then it got into the water, and then a bird came and stole it out of the water. And he was like, what happened?
That was amazing. That was amazing. Secretly, you have to remember, I was very, I was kind of enjoying the rep being sick because she hated us. She would torture us all the time.
Yeah, she was not happy that we got her out on a boat, that we forced her to go out on a boat with the guys from Clutch, but
at the end, and then so we had a great trip, and then we got in a car accident. Totaled my car.
I totally forgot about the accident. It's like I
station. Somebody picked us. How the ride a tow truck in? I don't remember. How did we get to the station? And went on the air. Rock out and stayed late.
Didn't we take two separate cars though? Because I think you crashed and you were going to meet me at the radio station. I think I was in my car.
No, we were together.
We were?
Yeah, because you were late going on the air.
Oh my God, that's right. Did I get some kind of head injury?
Mad at you because he wanted to go home and he was late for you to show up. And then we did a crossover with him, and he was brutal. He was absolutely brutal.
Yeah, it was all our fault because we were fishing with Clutch, which went totally on time, but then we got into a car accident, and that was what made us late, and somehow the car accident was our fault.
It was our fault.
Yeah.
360 on the highway in Beverly. Yeah, that was classic.
Yeah.
And that's how it started, and then we had raging parties up in that thing the last day on air there.
Oh, yeah, the old AF studio in Westboro. We did the last show. They wanted to switch studios on a weekend in case things went wrong, and so we did the last show in the old Westboro studio on a Friday night until midnight. And we asked the engineers, we're like, is there anything that we can't break? And they were like, don't break the glass, the soundproof glass, and otherwise have a ball. And so we did.
Destroyed the studio.
Yeah, that was so much fun.
It was so much fun. And then people thought we were faking it. It was live. We really destroyed that whole place. The cart racks, all the cassettes all over the floor.
Yeah, we were smashing stuff because when we changed studios from Westboro to Boston is when the radio station transitioned from playing CDs to having a digital music library in a computer. And so we were like, okay, I guess we don't need all of these CDs anymore. So we started hucking them down the hallway. We just started trashing everything because it was like, I can't even imagine what is in that office building in Westboro now. Yeah. If those walls could talk, they would be fully horrified.
That conference room. Yep.
Oh, the conference room.
It's probably, there's probably ghosts there. Speaking of ghosts.
Yeah.
I remember I took the WAF sign from when you get off the elevators. It said WAF this way. I took that off and I gave that to you the last time I was on the air with you.
Yeah, and I still have it. It's in my studio. It's in MCHQ now.
That's awesome. And that wasn't, and remember, so you closed that studio, and then you also took WAF off the air.
Three studios later.
3 studios later. So think about that. You're sort of like the Black Widow.
Yeah. I am the bringer of death.
The harbinger of death.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
for anybody that doesn't know, for people, because it's so weird to me now that people know me because of they listen to me in Charleston, South Carolina, or Portland, Maine, or that they listen to the Mistress Carrie podcast. And so they may not be familiar with WAAF, which is where I worked for 29 years. But for people that didn't know, one of the things that AAF was really ahead of its time with, and this was before I got on the air, was AAF was always a really early adopter for technology. A real early adopter when it came to the website, social media stuff, and our television show, which only Univision was brave enough to air, was kind of like what a radio station's YouTube channel is now. Except we were recording video of everything that we were doing behind the scenes, all the interviews with the bands, the concerts, the stupid bits we were doing in the studio. We were recording all of that in the 90s. And that's what Real Rock TV was. And it was hosted by Opie and Anthony before they got fired and before I got on the air. So this was mid 90s.
Yeah, it was epic. Every band you can think of debuted on Real Rock TV. Limp Bizkit, Korn, Three Doors Down, Creed,
Disturbed, Godsmack.
And they all, the first time they were on television, Limp Bizkit, we caught up with them at Warped Tour, and we haven't started playing the song yet, and they were already on Real Rock TV.
Kid Rock, Linkin Park.
Absolutely. Remember the first time you interviewed Kid Rock at Warped Tour when he was in the Winnebago? Do you remember that?
Oh my God. Kid Rock, I mean, you think about how much money and stuff Kid Rock has now. We were asked by the record label to go, because we weren't even playing him on the air yet. Devil Without a Cause hadn't even come out yet.
Right.
And Kid Rock was like on the 3rd stage at Warped Tour. And the label called and said, well, you guys go and check out this guy. His name's Bob Ritchie. He goes by Kid Rock. He's playing the Warped Tour. That was out in Northampton, right?
Yep.
And so we were like, yeah, we'll go. So we go out. He's on like the 3rd stage. We're trying to find him. Right. And he's not even in a bus. He's in an RV. And we walk over. He was in like a 70s lawn chair, I remember. And it was like the circus had come to town because Josie was with him. And Krause had bright orange hair. And Stephanie, the drummer, was there. And like, it was just this gaggle of weirdos. And we were like, hey, we're here to interview you or whatever. And he was like, okay, cool. And then somebody handed him a 2-liter bottle of Tussin that they were drinking Robitussin in soda and calling it tripping on Tussin. And that's how we met Kid Rock in like 98.
Absolutely. I mean, the 3rd stage was the flatbed of a truck.
Yeah.
It wasn't even a stage. It was the back of a truck. And that's what he debuted. And then in 99, he was at Woodstock. And we interviewed him before he went to Woodstock, and he told us everything he was going to do. He told us what he was going to wear. He was going to come out with a big bottle of Jim Beam. He told us the set list, everything.
Yeah.
And we watched that whole thing happen from driving to Winnebago to headlining at whatever main stage at Woodstock. It was such an amazing time. Of course, that was the one where the Woodstock caught on fire. We were the only person in the world that was broadcasting at that point. That
whole Woodstock 99 thing, when I watched those documentaries during COVID,
yeah,
I was just like, because we were there, but I'm going to take a little credit, Ian.
Yeah.
When we were planning that trip to Woodstock 99, I was like, guys, I went to 94. And we need to be prepared. It was me, you, Alfonso, our promo guy, Otto, the rock bus driver, and Tucker, the intern. And we were like, the station was like, what do you guys need? And I'm like, we need an RV. Like, we need a place to sleep. We need a place to get out of the rain that never came. We need a place that's going to be cool. And then we went to the grocery store and bought all this food and booze and packed, like we prepared for the worst weather possible because that's what we got in 94. And then we got there and there was no shade, no rain, no cool, no nothing. And we're just parked in this parking lot on an aircraft, like in a military base. Thank God we had the RV with the air conditioning and the refrigerators and whatever, because watching those documentaries about how other people were living at Woodstock.
Yeah. This place was in the middle of nowhere. I remember when we pulled up, the line was forever. They land B-52s out here. That's how big this place was. And so you're in the middle of nowhere. And then when the water shortage happened and they were charging like $12 for a bottle of water, it was just, we saw it coming. It was like every day there was one more thing and one more thing. And when Limp Bizkit came out and did Break Stuff, people talked about that. That was the thing that
oh my God,
rolling. But you know what? It was destined to implode. It was destined to implode from the minute we walked into that place. But we got to see, everybody was there though. Metallica, Godsmack was there, Reveille was there.
I know.
Was there. We knew everybody that was playing. We were talking to everybody backstage. It was like watching all the local bands that we've been working with for years are all at Woodstock. It was kind of like our own private show. I really loved it.
Yeah, with just 500,000 of our friends just happened to show up.
So the people come. That was so nice of us, wasn't it?
Yeah. The Kid Rock thing, we saw him at Warped Tour.
Yeah.
And then during the holidays of 98, we used to have these things called the 3-day holiday rage down on Lansdowne Street. And it was 3 consecutive nights, a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, of shows. And you could buy a ticket to one show or you could get a 3-day pass. And Kid Rock played one of the nights. And they pulled the RV up. And Kid Rock gets out. And his brother with one leg gets out. And then Joe C got out. And then Stephanie got out and Krause got out. And the security guard outside of Mamakin, because I think that's where the show was, just looked at me and was like, what the fuck is going on?
I know, right?
Like, what just walked in? And that was when, wasn't he dating a porn star then?
Okay, that happened later. He was dating Midori, who was Jody Watley's sister.
No.
Yes.
I didn't know that was Jody Watley's sister.
That was in Rhode Island when he was playing at oh my God, what's the name of the club? Not Babyhead. It was the other place.
Lupo's? Yeah.
In Rhode Island. We were shooting him down there and he brought her out on stage. Oh my God. The record rep was there. He had just taken us out to dinner and she was like, you're in for a show. That's the whole thing. There's a lot of that show that didn't have I had edited a lot of that show.
Yeah.
Midori was made quite an impression. Cause was the first time most people heard of Eminem because he sang on that record, the F Off track.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Bobby put him on that record and they had a big, for years afterwards, Eminem never gave it back to Bobby. They never had a thing. So when he would do My Name is Kid, he used to make fun of Eminem when he would play that song. So, I mean, we saw, and do you remember that we were walking with Kid and he was talking about how someone stole a box of T-shirts? Remember, he was on the phone, on the cell phone, walking to the show, and we just hung out with him. We were just drinking with them. And he's like yelling at somebody about losing the box of T-shirts. That man was involved in his whole career, every single aspect of it. We watched that whole thing happen.
Those early days when these artists that are now, I mean, you look at Papa Roach, 25 years this year. I just talked to Jerry Horton, and we were talking about how they, before Last Resort came out, were on the 3rd stage of the Warped Tour. Yep. And within weeks, they were playing right before Green Day because Last Resort had taken off on the air and was so huge. Disturbed is 25 years this year. Linkin Park is 25 years this year. And like when all of those bands were coming up, that was kind of when radio really, like when grunge kind of hit. And when grunge started to go away, there was like the new metal way. And then there was like the alt way.
Right.
The AAF BCN split was really obvious then. And so there were a lot of stations that were too cool to play a lot of the bands that we're talking about. And so we were like, you know, we were this gang of freaks that were like at war with everyone else in the world. And that's how we looked at it with all of these bands, like, fuck everybody else. You have us, and that's all you need. We got you.
We broke all that music, and it was such a big deal. Like, people don't remember what AF did back then. There was no one heard of Korn. No one heard of Korn. It was the number one band at WAAF, you know, and they were coming and doing shows for us. All these people got, by the time Adidas hit, their video played on MTV. It was in the top 10 of their MTV. They were playing the WAAF Indoor Beach Party that you blew up all the dolls for. Do you remember that?
I talked to Jonathan Davis about that, actually.
You did.
He came on the podcast, and I was like, I remember the first time I met you guys, because I was on the street team back then, and they used to use the street team as the roadies for the band for the indoor beach party. And I was like, dude, I blew up all of those blow up dolls that you guys like hung from the set. Like, that was part of my job. They brought me this road case, and they were like, we need to blow up all these blow up dolls. And these dolls were defiled. They were drawn all over. They had lingerie hanging off of them. And I had to put my mouth on those dolls to blow them up, Ian. So when people talk to me about, like, oh, you know, it's so glamorous, and there's like all of these great things, and oh, it must be so nice not to pay for concert tickets. I'm like, I had to put my mouth on Korn's blow up dolls to get there, okay? I earned those free tickets.
That was crazy. Fitchburg. Man,
the Wallace Civic Center.
Yeah, that was crazy, absolutely crazy. And then, of course, the follow-up for that was when they did, was it Rock is Dead at Centrum? At
the Centrum with Rob Zombie, right?
Right. And then we had that crazy after party. This was, and to this day, and we can go into this with the actual record rep that was Korn's record rep at the time. His name's Bill. And Bill and I laugh about that all the time. Bill got in so much trouble.
Did he really?
Lost head. He split. They couldn't find him. He took off, and they had to go look. He was fishing on somebody's farm the next day, and they had to go find him on somebody's farm because he was fishing in somebody's backyard. We shut down a club. We brought in friends from all over. Dancers
of the exotic type.
We shut down a club. We asked them if they were busy. They said they'll come right over. They came in. It was absolutely the most epic backstage party in the history of all time. And the bands still talk about it, and the record reps still talk about it.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely crazy. It was crazy days. We lived a good time for rock and roll. And all those bands, like you said, are still here. Godsmack is still selling out shows. Seven Dust is still selling out shows. Deftones are still selling out shows. I mean, there's all these bands are still doing it because it's a different place for radio right now, and the legacy bands aren't. There are no new bands coming up that are taking the place of all these guys. So all the people that we love, look at the lineup for Boston Calling right now. It's all older bands.
Yeah.
That was a long time ago. The stuff that we did in radio back then, Red Rock TV, what you were playing, the interviews you did, the people you know, that was a heyday. It was like the Woodstock of the 70s, except it was us in 96.
And all of those bands now, all the bands you mentioned, we have watched them go through the ups and downs of their careers, right? Releasing albums that weren't as successful, personal struggles, loss, addiction issues, the band's breaking up, the band's getting back together, members leaving, members coming back. I mean, there has been so much, but it comes up all the time on the podcast that the loyalty of rock fans, once you earn a fan's loyalty, like once you love a band forever.
Yeah.
And rock bands have always known that and have been amazing about making sure that they do right by the fans.
Yeah.
Like hey, Wednesday, knock it off. Sorry, the dogs are freaking out over here. So case in point, right? You bring up Korn. Yeah. So back in the heyday of Korn, we lost Head for like 24 hours after the show, and he ended up fishing on some guy's farm, okay? We all know what happened with Head. He left the band. He got sober. He found God, found too much God, then found less God. Like he's been on the show. We've talked all about it. But I want to tell you the story because this just shows you all these years later, right? So Head calls me because he started a mental health and rehab facility in Wilmington.
That's great.
And he was like, hey, can I come on your show to talk about it? Because I'm really passionate about it. You know my story. I was like, yeah, of course. And so he was like, look, I'm going to be up here a lot more now. I didn't know his mom was from Manchester by the Sea, by the way. Did you know that?
Way. Never knew that.
Yeah, I didn't know that either, that's where his mom was from. And he spent time there as a kid. Wow. And now he's kind of like a pseudo masshole because he now has this mental health facility that he is a partner in Massachusetts. So I had him on the show and he was like, look, I'm going to be up here a lot. So, the next time I'm up here, I'm going to give you a shout and like, we should do dinner. And I was like, okay. So he calls me and he's like, do you want to do dinner? And I was like, didn't ask me for anything, just want to go to dinner. And I was like, sure. So I took him to the North End and we go to Strega, obviously, because that's what you do.
So you had a Nikki for me?
Yeah, exactly. So we go there or whatever. And then he's like, well, I'll see you in September because the band's going to be back in town or whatever. And I was like, absolutely, I'm going to be there, whatever. So my trip to Afghanistan, in 2011, one of the guys that I was embedded with, this guy Lawson, loves Korn. Like they're his favorite band of all time. And he's got a teenage daughter, and that's what they do together. They listen to Korn. And so Lawson calls me and says, I'm taking her to her first concert, and I'm taking her to see Korn. Wow. And I was like, well, first of all, did you buy tickets yet? And he was like, no, I'm going to get them, though. I want to take her. I just found out about the show. And I was like, let me get the tickets for you. I'm going to the show. I want to see you watch Korn, and I want to watch your daughter watch you watch Korn because they both love. She's 16, right? There's this dad bonding with his teenage daughter. So I call Head.
Oh my God.
And I go, dude,
look it up.
Can I call in a favor, not for me, but for a friend? And he was like, yeah, absolutely. And I was like, so I told him all about it. I'm like, this is my buddy from Afghanistan. Because remember the Korn guys gave me those calling cards when I went to Baghdad?
Yep.
They were so amazing. They paid for like 3,000 phone calls home for the soldiers that I visited. So I was like, this is one of the guys I met in Afghanistan. He's bringing his daughter. Is there any way that I could just bring them to like meet you for 5 minutes just to get a picture like that? I have tickets already. I'm not asking for anything. He was like, yeah, of course, no problem. Pouring rain. We're at the Xfinity Center. He calls me and he goes, okay, we just got here. Go to the door. My guy's waiting for you. He's got passes for you guys. My buddy and his daughter have no clue.
No way.
So I take him over there. The security guard's there, gives them all access passes. They're like, what the hell is going on? We walk into catering and there's Head and the band and the guys from Gojira and like all the bands are there. And all of a sudden my buddy's daughter starts crying. She's 16, right? The guy we lost after a show in 99 who's fishing on a farm is making this girl cry. This just happened in September.
Wow.
So he's like, can I give you a hug? And she's like, and my buddy's just losing it because this is his daughter. And like, here's this band that he loves and whatever. And so we're taking pictures together. And DL from Bad Wolves just happened to be backstage because he was in town and wanted to go see the band. And so he's like, hey, I don't want you guys to miss Gojira. And I was like, okay, no problem. We'll leave. We have tickets. We'll go back outside. And he was like, no, come with me. Brings us on the stage to watch Gojira. Okay. My buddy Lawson's losing his mind. His daughter is losing his mind. And so then they end and Head's like, okay, we got to get ready to go on stage. You guys are all set. We'll see you after the show. And I go, yeah. And he goes, where are your seats? And I showed him my ticket. He goes, absolutely not. Calls his guy, gives us pit tickets.
No.
Ian, you've known me for a long time. When's the last time I was in the fucking pit for anything?
Never.
So now we're in the pit. My buddy Lawson bumps into army dudes that he's friends with, and then a bunch of old AAF listeners that know that I'm married to a Marine that are Marines, and they made this wall around me and my buddy's daughter in the pit so we could watch Korn, right?
It's amazing.
They're like, rolled out. So the show gets over. We're watching. It's crazy. We go backstage. Head went and got Monkey, went and got Ra, went and got the whole freaking band because he wanted them to meet my buddy. It wasn't me. It was my buddy. Like, that is what I'm talking about. I know it's a long-winded story, but that's what I'm talking about when I say that those guys have gone above and beyond for years, because that's just the people that they are.
Yeah. We were, the friendships that we made, and that makes me really happy that are still there. Those people still remember us. It's great to run into people from back when we were making the show. And as you know, like, obviously we did 257 episodes of Real Rock TV, 257. You were the host of probably 200 of those shows.
Yeah. Opie and Anthony hosted the first however many episodes before they got fired.
Yeah. It was crazy. We should talk about that sometime. But yeah, that was, honestly, Real Rock TV was a big part of their career because that put them on camera and they broke that audience and they were really huge. And, quite frankly, as much as I love those guys, the time they had at AAF was the best time they ever had. I know that they had lots of success at other stations and stuff, but it was a really, really cool time to be there. And we had them, we had Rocco, we had Ozone. We were doing, we got the radio station to send us across the country to a phone booth in the middle of the desert and videotape it. 2 episodes. We're doing live hits on the news, on Channel 25 News, the whole week that we were out there doing that.
Dude, let me blow your mind. I got somebody to pick up the Mojave Desert phone booth on New Year's Eve, 1999, going into 2000. That was 25 years ago this week.
Wow.
That's what I called that number for months on the air, and nobody picked it up until the millennium. And then we ended up going out to the phone booth, like a couple months later.
It's crazy. It was like talk about dream into action. You were like, I'm going to do this. And then you got the phone call. The documentary crew wants to follow you out there and make a movie about you going out there. We're shooting the episode. It was like we hit every tourist joint from here to,
Me, you, and Mike Shue, we were like the 3 Musketeers driving across Texas, like...
We were fish out of water.
Mike Shue came on the first weekly episode of The War Room, and then I think he came back on episode 150. Danielle's been on. Like I've tried to, like losing AAF almost 5 years ago, it was really hard to have a career outside of AAF when you're known for it for so long. So I didn't want everything I did to just be talking about the old days at AAF. But it's been almost 5 years now. The podcast, all the other radio shows that I'm doing, like everything else that I'm doing, it's fun to go back and tell these stories now, because the way that the industry functions now, we never would have gotten away with 100th of what we did back then.
Never. No, there's no budget to do anything. We were setting stuff on fire every week. We were running away from the cops every week. We were doing something that we were worried about whether or not we'd have jobs on Monday.
Yeah.
Go on, tie one on every single Friday afterwards. Dick's Last Resort in Copley. Oh my God. It
was right across the street from the old station. You and I would get off the air on Friday nights at midnight and race to Dick's because they had the latest last call in the city.
We close that place. Close that place every week, every single week.
Yeah.
So we made it through a lot of stuff. Now I tell my daughters, I tell them I used to be cool.
By the way, not a shock at all to me that you had beautiful daughters, because you're another victim of rockstar revenge.
No, I think about it. I told them that. Not the only one who got away with it was Tommy Lee.
And Kid Rock.
Okay, does he have 2 boys too?
No, he's only got 1 boy. He never had daughters.
Never had daughters.
Tommy Lee and Kid Rock, 2 guys that probably deserve to have gorgeous triplet daughters.
Right.
And they're the only rock stars that I know of that are impervious to the rockstar revenge, that they did not have a gorgeous daughter.
Yeah.
Because they all do.
They have no access to the internet in this house.
Michael Cole says, what is a payphone?
But oh my.
Brett Feldman said, "What is too much God?" If you go back and listen to interviews with Head, when he got sober and was born again, he talks about how he basically swapped addictions, drugs for God. And he got so ultra religious and then kind of realized that like there's a happy medium between having faith and having your faith be your whole identity. So that's what I mean by too much God. This is stuff that he has openly talked about.
It's like when you're in the snow and you overcorrect.
Yeah.
You start skidding one way and you really crank the wheel really hard the other way. And then you start skidding the other way.
Yeah.
Over time, you straighten it out. And I think that's exactly where he's at. And it makes me happy. Think about Blink-182. That was a band that imploded. They were never going to talk to each other again. UFOs tore that band apart and they're back out. They're together.
I know.
You know what?
I mean, we've seen a lot. Adam Gontier's back in 3 Days Grace. Clint Lowry left Seven Dust for a while, and now he's back. I mean, has been back for a long time now. But like, we've watched these guys go through these personal struggles and then watch these bands find a way to put it all back together again, which is not in every case. Unfortunately, we've lost a lot of amazing people. You know, when I built MCHQ and I started going through a lot of my old AAF archives, because I took the paint off the walls. When AAF got sold, I took everything. And as I was going through all these archives, like the interviews that I have with people, all of the crazy times with Dimebag Darrell and Vinnie Paul, I was telling that story at my mom's services about introducing my mom to Dimebag Darrell at Local Bazooka when they played with Damage Plan. And I said to my mom, like, "Mom, this is Dimebag Darrell." And she was like, "Hi, it's so nice to meet you. Should I call you Dime or Mr. Bag?" One of the funniest things that's ever happened in my life, ever. And he was like, "You can call me whatever you want, Mistress Carrie's mama." And then he like picked her up and hugged her and picked her feet off the ground. Like those little, you know, when Seven Dust was recording Home in Massachusetts, Monster Magnet, Stained, and Seven Dust played the Palladium on Mother's Day.
Yep.
And they did a thing where they released a certain amount of tickets for people's moms. And my mom and my godmother, I was like, I'm taking 2 of those tickets. I'm taking my mom and my godmother. I go to pick them up. These bitches are wearing leather pants and AAF Mistress Carrie shirts, my mom and my godmother. I take them to the Palladium, get them all access passes. So as we were going through all of these pictures for my mom's services, I find pictures of my mom with Stained, pictures of my mom with Seven Dust, and a picture of my mom and my godmother with Dave Windor from Monster Magnet in between them. And when I was taking the picture, he took his arms and cupped both of their asses. So I'm watching Dave Windor from Monster Magnet cop a feel on my mom on Mother's Day.
Well, you know, it was an all the way live rock and roll situation. So, you know, that's the way he goes.
Yeah.
Monster Magnet, another great band that we were all about.
Yeah.
Loved those shows. We did a great show with them in Lowell. Remember the Lowell? I think they did one of our parties up in Lowell.
It was probably an indoor beach party if it was at the Songus. Yeah.
It was huge. It was absolutely huge. And you know what? The music, I'm not ashamed to listen to it. I listen to it all the time. Great times. Great feelings about it. And as I said, it's still around. It's not like it's the 50s and we're talking about like Buddy Holly and stuff. Like our bands are still out there kicking ass right now.
Yeah.
Festivals. And it's a testament to that time in the radio and that time with the TV show. I'm so lucky that we got a chance to do that together.
Tracy says, "Mr. Bag, ha ha ha." Keith says, Dime greeted her with a black tooth grin. Yep. Eric says, "Now your mom is partying with Dimebag." Yeah, he's drinking black tooths and she's drinking Smirnoff Ices.
The first time I met Pantera, like you got it. It was scary. I mean, when you first, you watched the Let It Go videos, and you're gonna go. So when I went on an Ozfest, one of the first people I ran into was Pantera, and Dimebag was the first person who saw me. He said, "You gonna be on tour with us?" Right into the dressing room, pulls me a shot, boom, right there. Next thing I do, I'm walking outside the venue. I'm walking around and I see Gina Fine, who is a adult performer, and she's looking for Pantera. And I said, I know the way. So I take her through security because I have an all access pass with privileges, right? Because you have an all access pass, you can actually bring somebody in. And I brought her backstage to the band. Dimebag said, hi, thanks. So that was my entree to rock and roll. That was my first day on tour.
Donna says that Mr. Bag story is one of my favorites about your mom. Nothing like a little sexual harassment, says Shane. Oh, the good old days. Look, my mom bragged about getting her ass grabbed by Dave Windor from Monster Magnet for months.
I'd still be bragging about it now.
Like literally 4 months that she bragged about that. Like my sister and I, when we were trying to go through, both having to eulogize my mom, right? We had to figure out what stories to tell. And so obviously we're siblings. So we're like, I didn't want to hear her eulogy. She didn't want to hear mine. But I was like, we have to make sure that we're not telling the same stories.
Right.
And I thought for sure we were going to have picked the same stories. And we didn't at all. Like her and I just organically picked completely different stories to talk about with my mom. And as we were talking, I was like, well, I could talk about this and I could talk about that. And I was like, oh, I definitely have to talk about her meeting Dimebag. I definitely have to talk about Dave Windorf, like grabbing her ass, because like she was like Wayne and Garth with the backstage pass at the Alice Cooper show in Wayne's World. Like that was my mom when she went to, when Loco Bazooka was at the Fitchburg airport, my mom calls me and she's like, I'm going to need 8 all access passes for Loco Bazooka. And I was like, excuse me, Mom? And she was like, well, it's right near the house, Carrie. I have friends. I need passes. I'm your mother. And I was like, well, Mom, I don't know if I can get you 8 all access passes, but I will get you some. So that was the year the Damage Plan was playing. And there's my mom with this all access Loco Bazooka pass. And she's walking around and she's like, I'm Mistress Carrie's mom. I'm Mistress Carrie's mom. Just walking up to the bands. I'm Mistress Carrie's mom. And they were all like, what's up, Mom? Like, and I'm just like, oh, if my mom ends up on a tour bus, like I'm not going to be able to fucking handle.
Right. Hilarious. Your mom is so cool though. She was so cool. I mean, think about it. Putting up with you every day. Everything you say on the radio, like, heard you talking on the radio today.
Yeah.
She's spicy, that one.
I had to wrap my brain around the idea that when I started on the air, I was 25.
Wow.
And my mom was 45.
Oh, man.
So imagine, like, I'm trying to wrap my brain around the idea of how I would have felt with a 25-year-old on the air at AAF when I was 45, because I have an 18-year-old bonus daughter right now, and I want to put her in a cage until she's 50. Yeah, you're a girl, Dad. You know.
Grace, I got it. Yeah, I'm with you.
I'm just trying to imagine how my mom made it through those early AAF years, thinking about, like, literally listening to the crazy ass shit that we were doing on the radio and watching it on television.
On television every weekend. Like, you can't lie. That's the one. I guess that's the one freeing thing about it. You got to be you. You broadcast it on the radio and you broadcast it on television. That's the other thing about Real Rock TV. It wasn't a cable show. It was on broadcast television. It was a broadcast TV show.
Yeah.
And everybody saw it. People from all over the country saw it. People from all over the world know about that show. Drain SDH, running into them years later. And, it's crazy. It was really it was a really wild experience, and I don't know if it's ever going to be like that again. If ever the stars could ever align again to make something really happen.
There were just so few outlets like that we were able to kind of maximize what was going on, and like it was the Wild West. Like nobody had ever done it. We didn't know if we were doing it right or not. We were flying by the seat of our pants all the time because we just didn't know any better. Half the time we were just like, I don't know. Like now, people can kind of watch what other people are doing. You can watch some bands that are taking advantage of TikTok. You can watch other bands that have great YouTube channels. Back then, nobody had any of that stuff. So they were like, wait, you're going to put cameras on us? Like, what are we?
Right.
Like, what are we doing? Jessica asked if I heard from Sully after mom died.
Oh.
And I did. He messaged me and he was like, are you okay? Do you need anything? I'm so sorry to hear about your mom. I found pictures of my mom and my dad with me and Sully and the Seven Dust guys at the softball game.
Oh man, this course. Yeah, in Lowell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Seven Dust Dirty Birds versus the Godsmack Chowder Heads.
I still have my still have my shirt.
And I got this really sweet video message.
Yeah.
There are certain people that don't text, that they'd rather send a video message.
Yeah.
And Brent from Shinedown is one of those people.
Oh.
And so he sent me this, I can't even think about it because I will cry. He sent me this like 2-minute video message via text when he found out about my mom. And I was just so, because all I see is that, Brent Smith is texting you, right? And then there's just a video file. So I just hit play and it's him like, we will move mountains. What do you need? Can we help you in any way? Like, just this overwhelming. And Morgan from Seven Dust reached out, like Tyler Connolly from Theory of a Dead Man. Like, there were just these amazing people that just reached out and they were like, Tim Montana, like, are you okay? Can we do anything? It was really, really cool. And some of these guys met mom, obviously, because back in those days, we were doing all this crazy stuff, but other guys didn't. They just were just really sweet. So.
Yeah. Going back, you mentioned Sully. You know what my daughter's first show was?
Godsmack show, the first show?
I called Sully, and it was at Manchester. They had added a date onto that last tour just before they started this 25 tour. And I called mom and said, listen, it's time to take girls to a show. He said, I'll take care of it. Walk to the thing, VIP, front of the house, right on there. Beers.
And you're looking at your daughter going, don't get used to this kid.
Right. And then Extreme opened up.
Oh my God, that's right.
All right. And so, I'm still really close with Pat Badger, which is awesome. So we go backstage after the show. There's Extreme. There's Godsmack. There's it was just really awesome because when I go back, we talk about the rewind when it was just me and you and Sully, and it was like a bar with $5 cover and 6 people in it, and the song is getting played for the first time. They sent the edit for what was it, Keep Away, or what was the first song? For whatever, right?
Well, Keep Away, we were playing on the air, but the first single that got sent out by the label was Whatever. And because so many people around New England already had the All Wound Up album, they rubber banded Whatever to it at Newbury Comics. Sully and I talked about it on the podcast. We joked about it.
I have it. I have that exact copy. So
yep.
They had to send, I don't know if you remember this, they had to send that single to the radio station 4 times, 4 edits, because they didn't clear their samples. So every time they would send us a new edit of the song, he was like, don't play the other one. We didn't clear those samples 4 times before they got the right mix of Whatever. It was crazy. That was wild, but that was a nice circle of life moment to go be backstage. And
well, who would have thought that all those years later, after all those drunken nights, that you'd be taking your daughters to see Godsmack? Like, if I had said that to you in 1999, you would have been like, you shut your whore mouth, Carrie.
My wife is the most amazing person in the world because when I tell her these stories, she doesn't flinch. She doesn't flinch.
No.
She's like you. She's like, she knows, she expects it. She knows rock and roll. And, every once in a while we're sitting down. Did I ever tell you the time about, let a story out once every 6 months,
Yeah.
Just just that way they're all out there at some point. I don't want to drop them all on her head at once, but yeah.
See, and I have the exact opposite story because I'm married to an active duty Marine. So there's no shock value. The problem with me is that he doesn't know who any of the bands are because he's a country music fan.
Oh, man.
tell him these stories. He's like, what band are you talking about? I have no idea. We went out to Dallas a few years ago on like a motorcycle trip with a bunch of friends. Yeah. And we were out there and I was like, hey, can I, we're going over like, all the things we're going to do while we're out there. And I was like, hey, I want to go visit Vinnie Paul and Dimebag Darrell's graves.
Yeah.
And I want to go find Dave's stage, right? Dave from Drowning Pool, because he's buried out there too. And so I was like, my husband's watching the show. He just texted me a middle finger emoji. And so I was like, I want to go and visit these guys, and he was like, who are you talking about? And I was like, okay, yeah, can we go?
Obviously, some really famous people.
Yeah.
Right.
Last Christmas, I'm out running errands on Christmas Eve day with my husband and my bonus son. And Sully calls and he's like, hey, are you around? And I was like, yeah, I'm like 10 minutes from your house. And he's like, come over. And I was like, well, I made you cookies. I was going to put them in your mailbox. And he was like, no, come over. I said, I have my husband and my son with me. And he was like, yeah, that's fine. So I'm explaining to my 14-year-old bonus son that we're like going to like the rock star's house and like not to take pictures in the house or whatever. Like if you want to take a picture, ask before you do it. Like, don't check in on Facebook from his living room, like that kind of stuff. And he walks in, you should have seen my son's face because just the gold records. I mean, just like the big piano and all the stuff. And he was just like, and I was like, yeah, it sucks that we have to go home now because like we can't live here. I get it.
That house, man. That's the walls could talk in that house. Oh my God. Every after party at that place. That place was crazy. Absolutely crazy.
Yeah. Everybody's saying hi to Mr. C now in the comments. That's the nickname for the hubs, Mr. C.
Listen, I love him. It was nice to finally catch up with the boss there. I mean, obviously I've known. What a great dude.
You were able to keep your underwear from flying off when you saw him in his dress blues, too. That there tends to be a cyclone of panties around when he walks around in his blues.
He's a solid dude. This is you got to come to expect that. But at the same time, when you take him in your environment, my God, please, Karen. I mean, listen.
Yeah.
Does he listen to any of the old podcasts, any of the old radio checks?
No, he's heard some of the stories, and obviously when we go to shows, he's heard stories from the bands and stuff, but he's just like, perfect example. Babe, I'm calling you out. We're dating.
Okay.
Metallica plays Gillette, sells it out, AAF presents show. I have to interview James Hetfield backstage and introduce the band on stage.
Oh my God.
And he and I are dating 6 months at the time.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, come up. Metallica's playing. Come with me. You and I, he's sending me text messages. So we go with a bunch of our mutual friends who had like fixed us up, right? And we go and I'm like, hey guys, I got to go. The manager for Metallica comes out in the parking lot where we're tailgating and is like, hey, you ready for your interview? And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, where are we going? I'm like, we have to go interview James Hetfield. In Bill Belichick's press room, by the way.
God.
And of course, James Hetfield hates the freaking Patriots, right? So he's sitting in there like miserable with all these giant cardboard cutouts of freaking Tom Brady on the walls. And so we do the interview, we take pictures, whatever. And then he leaves and my husband goes, who is that guy? So we go back out and all of our buddies are like, what is going on? So then we have to go back in and it's time for me to introduce the band. And he's like, where are you going? I'm like, I have to go out and introduce the band. And he's like, have you seen all the people that are out there? I'm like, yeah. So they come over, they bring me a microphone. He's like, what are you going to say? I'm like, I don't know. He goes, you don't have note cards written? And I'm like, no, I'm going to go out. I'm going to say Mistress Carrie, WAAF. I'll probably say fuck a couple times, say Metallica, and that'll be it. Like, it'll be fine.
The crowd's going to love it. Then we'll head to Bass Pro Shop and do some shopping.
Yeah. It just, I think it's just hilarious that like,
wow.
We both have found these partners that in one way, shape, or form have had to deal with the carnage of our respective careers.
Every once in a while I'll go somewhere and somebody will they'll know me and they'll start talking to me and the kids will be like, who is this man?
Yeah.
Why is he so excited to talk to you?
Yeah.
He's someone who knows, hon. I'll make it as quick as I can. We'll move on from here. Still get free beers every once in a while. Someone tell me they love the show, love to listen on the radio and stuff like that. That's awesome. But what's most important is you're still out there kicking ass right now and still playing the new music and still interviewing people and still making it go. And in the collapse of that whole amazing part, which could be an amazing career, you could have just said, hey, that's awesome. I can just move forward and look back and think about all the great stuff I did. You went and you reinvented yourself.
Well, you had to do it too. Look at you and your Media Boss Studios.
Friggin' this is not virtual, this is a real set. I'm cool too. I have a set.
Yeah.
I shot, speaking of like moving forward, I've done a bunch of documentary stuff. I shot a movie for Steve Sweeney. It's called Townie. It's coming out next year. I shot a bunch of the reenactments for Sully's movie for I Stand Alone.
Yeah.
Reenactments that you see in that movie where they're like talking about growing up and they're showing all the scenes and stuff. I shot all that stuff for Sully.
Yeah. That kid did a really good job. He looked like Sully. It was weird.
Yeah,
the reenactment stuff, filling in the gaps where they didn't have pictures and video of Sully's life.
So gentle. It was so funny because he was the exact opposite of who Sully was. So he had really pushed himself to do all those scenes. It was crazy. Good guy. And it was awesome to be. And we were at that premiere together. You were there.
Yeah.
In Cambridge.
Yeah.
It was great to see. So, it's still going. It's not stopping. It didn't end.
I get these emails every once in a while now that I'm on the air in Charleston, because a lot of like New Englanders have moved down there, especially since COVID. And like I got an email the other day on my website, and they're like, so I'm flipping through the radio stations in Charleston. Is this the same Mistress Carrie I grew up listening to in Massachusetts? And I'm like, is there another one that I wasn't aware of? Like, and then every once in a while, because I'm on AFN on the military bases overseas, I'll get messages on my website and be like, this is so cool. I'm in Germany or Okinawa and I'm listening to you on the radio. This is crazy. So it's so cool.
So I'm going to tell you right now, my big piece of news for you is that I'm going forward with making the documentary about Real Rock TV.
Yes!
I'm going to do it. I've got, 1,000 tapes, 257 shows, all those bands.
Good luck going through all those archives, dude.
I've been archiving the stuff. The stuff that I have is incredible. I mean, the first time I shot the Deftones downstairs at the Middle East singing "I'll Keep on Loving You" by REO Speedwagon. Just crazy, crazy, crazy stuff from the very beginnings of it. The interviews that we did with Kid Rock in the very beginning. The interview that we did with Blink 182 at Warped Tour, where we brought our friend up and we did the photo shoot. For the magazine.
Right.
Oh my God.
There were a lot of those friends around back in the late 90s, early 2000s. There were a lot of them.
So in any case, this is the time. We're going to go back and do it because for a while I thought, nobody cares about this stuff. But the truth is, Creed is going back up.
Creed is bigger than ever now.
What's that?
Creed is bigger than ever now.
I know. That blows my mind. It blows my mind. It blows my mind. One time I got a free hotel room pretending to be Scott Stapp. You know that story.
I do know
Chatty.
that story.
Son of a bitch. Son of a bitch. Oh,
freaking amazing.
I swear to God, that was a game weekend, too. I think he was playing the next day. He was like, dude, I'm too messed up to drive home. You got to get a hotel.
You got to get me a hotel. Okay, I'm Scott Stapp from Creed. We need a hotel room.
Tell the lady at the front desk that you're Scott Stapp. I'm going to get you a room. When I tell you to look back and just wave.
Yeah, I'm excited that so what's the timeline on the documentary? Because I got to tell everybody who's on the podcast and stuff this week. So,
well, it's going to get shot this year. I got so many interviews to do. So many people have, that have been participating. The record reps. We're all like in huge places now. People like Dennis Brennan. Remember Dennis?
Yeah.
He's the guy who brought Seven Dust. He was there for that first Seven Dust show. He was their tour manager for the first time that we shot Seven Dust. And he's a monster in the business.
Oh, yeah.
Hand that we worked with back in the day with Kid Rock. He's a monster in the industry now. So I have to remind people all the time that, it was your conversation about, we had talked about what Kid Rock's best song was. And you're like, don't play cowboy. It's Ba with Ba. Got the single. I'm like, are you sure, Carrie? You're like, it's ba da ba, you better play that. And that was true, and it happened. So it's time to tell these stories, I think. Let's do it.
Yeah, these stories have to be told, and especially now that all of these bands are kind of in this highlight of their careers, celebrating these massive anniversaries. Yeah. Disturbed is going to be at the Garden in March, celebrating their 25th anniversary with 3 Days Grace and Seven Dust. It's going to be literally like our high school class reunion.
You know what I love about David, and speaking of Disturbed, is that all the memes.
Oh, his meme game and his ability to laugh at himself is so good.
Right. He is phenomenal. He shares them himself.
Yeah.
He comments on other people's pages when they do it.
Yeah. Because he doesn't take himself too seriously. He knows. It's the same thing with the guys from Papa Roach. Yep. With all of the cut my wife into pieces. This is my last divorce. Like last December for Christmas, they released a Papa Roach cut my life into pizza cutter.
Oh my God.
Like these guys are in on the joke. The guys in Creed are in on the joke. They've seen the memes. They've heard the stories. They know what the videos look like. They're in on it. And they're just like, yeah, look, we're owning it. Like we were on a mountaintop. Like, and now we're on a mountaintop in a Super Bowl commercial 20 years later, laughing at ourselves.
I was at that Florida show, FYI. The famous Creed show in Florida with Kid Rock. I was there.
The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
That's amazing. You're phenomenal. Thank you.
Thank you for coming on. I told you, I was like, it'll be like a half hour. I don't know why I said that. It took me 15 minutes to get the audio to work, but we finally got it working.
Right. We subtract that, and it's a still fast show. Maybe you can just edit that part out, so it looks like you're a technological genius. I love the production of the show.
I wanted to be able to tell some really funny stories for the 300th, and I had kind of hoped that this 300th episode would kind of be something where we took the show on the road and kind of did a big thing about it, but obviously the timing of it just wasn't. I wasn't able to. With everything that happened around the holidays with mom and stuff, there was just no way for me to try and put that together. And I was like, you know what? I want to be able to laugh and tell some hilarious old stories. And the fact that you were just, here at the house, you walked in the war room, you were like, this is the war room? This is where you do the show?
Dude, your place is amazing. Your place is amazing. It's like a sanctuary of awesomeness. And it's like memorabilia everywhere. It's like Sully's joint, except it's like different worlds.
Except I didn't sell 25 million records. Yeah.
You walk in, you feel like you're wearing fatigues or something. The studio is amazing.
Yeah, the studio. I love working in there every day. It's got a super great vibe to it. I love it.
I want to get together with you again because we've got some really. I want to bring some video next time, and maybe we could watch some stuff and do some stuff because obviously we have the Mojave trip. We've got the Woodstock. We've
been talking about getting me, you, and Mike Shue together, and maybe some of the documentary guys to do a podcast to talk about that whole trip because it was 25 years ago, so we should do it soon.
It's time. Let's do it.
Yeah,
that's absolutely good. I'd love to do it, and I've got stuff to give you from this house because you need lamps and things at your house.
I need lamps.
I do. I'm going to show the lamp I'm going to give you. Hold on.
Yes. So when Ian was at the house for the meal after my mom's funeral, he's walking around the house. He goes, I have a lamp I have to give you. Oh, my God. That lamp is amazing.
It's vintage.
You can tell.
Vintage.
He's like, I have to give you this lamp. It's like the most random sentence Ian's ever said to me in our relationship. Carrie, I have a lamp for you. I was like, I don't even know what that is. That an innuendo or is that a euphemism for something? What are you talking about? That just shows you age. When someone says, hey, I have a lamp for you, they mean a lamp.
I really mean a lamp. A real lamp.
Oh my God. Penny says it's so great hearing these stories. Voorhees says, I think it took 30 minutes to get the audio working. Don't lie, Carrie. Jessica says, Sully's daughter is in her 20s and gorgeous. We're not even going to talk about it.
Yeah,
Ian and I can't talk about it.
Yeah.
Because we're too old.
I went to school with her. So yeah, so it's funny.
Yeah, we're too old to even be able to handle. I was there the day she was born. I can't handle watching the kids grow up now. It's like, ooh.
I was at his house. Did you know that story? I was at his house. And she told him, don't get messed up tonight because I feel like the baby's going to come. And he's like, never mind. Let's go out. So next thing I know, we're out at Fridays and we just get blasted. And they drop us off back at the house. And guess what?
That's why you got to listen to the women, Ian.
You got to listen. You got to listen.
You got to listen.
I had to drive the car seat from his house into the hospital because they forgot to bring the car seat.
And I get the call. I'm in the studio and I'm announcing the birth on the air, which I recorded and gave to him on cassette.
Oh, man, that's awesome.
I hope they still have it. I'm sure I have it somewhere, but.
Whatever. That's hilarious.
Betty says, I'm so glad the show's running late because I was late tuning in. Eric says, Walter, get the lamp. All right, we're going to book the podcast episode about the phone booth. I got to call Shu. We got to put that together.
And let's do the Woodstock thing, too.
Yeah, we got to talk about Woodstock 99 because we got a lot of stories about that. Otto wants to come on the show, too. I already talked to him about it. Okay, the guy that drove the rock bus because he was there, too.
And I'll grab some clips. I found one of the episodes, I think, of it. I think we did a couple episodes of that show, but I've got video from that.
Yeah, so we definitely got to do that. And then obviously, you know, the unenviable task of going through all 257 Real Rock TV episodes to put this documentary together. When that's ready to go, we got to have a premiere. We got to do the thing.
I'm going to give you beforehand because honestly, I swear to God, this is like, when I tell people these stories, like, that really happened? Like,
oh, yeah.
Yeah, it really happened.
Yeah, it happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, it happened for sure. It happened. We have it on video, so we can prove it.
On video.
Yeah.
For the internet.
Well, thank you again for coming out to my mom's services. It meant a lot that so many people from the AAF family came out, and it was so great to hang afterwards. Thank you for the lamp.
Oh. The lamp. And I just want to say, you get more beautiful every day. I swear to God.
Aw, Ian.
You're absolutely gorgeous.
I'm not loaning you money.
I don't know what you're doing. You keep doing it, though.
Hate and caffeine, Ian. I'm fueled on it.
Caffeine?
Hate and caffeine.
Well, I'm out of scotch, so.
All right. Well, cheers. Thank you for coming on the show. Happy 300th episode. You're not allowed to critique the technical
I will not.
Issues of the show.
Oh,
all right. I'll talk to you soon.
Love you.
Love you. Bye. There he is, guys. Ian from Real Rock TV. Yeah, we've got stories. I told you we have got stories. All right. I want to tell you everything else that's going on in the show because I know I kept you guys late tonight. So the dogs are asleep. Want to remind you guys about where you can listen to me on the radio. 98 Rock in Charleston. You can hear me every weekday from 10 to 3. You can listen at my98rock.com. Download the free 98 Rock app. That's 10 to 3 every weekday. You can listen to me on 100 FM The Pike in Massachusetts, 3 to 7 every weekday afternoon. Download the free Pike app. Listen online from anywhere at pikefm.com. And you can hear me on 106.3 The Bone in Portland, Maine. Every weekday afternoon from 3 to 7. You can listen at 1063thebone.com. Download the free Bone app. I want to thank everybody that came out around the holidays to the Mistress Carrie Grunge Brunch. That's the guys from 5 Against None. 2 grunge brunches on Saturday and Sunday after Christmas. These guys were fantastic. Unplugged Pearl Jam. They were great. So I will let you guys know when we're going to schedule more grunge brunches. The podcast recap, there have been a few episodes that have come out since we did the show last. Hold on. There we go. So episode 237 featured Cody Hansen from Hinder. Episode 238 featured Pat Gasparini from Anything But Human. And episode 239 features guitarist Sophie Lloyd. You may know her from YouTube. You might know her from Machine Gun Kelly's band. But that was last week's episode, episode 239, Sophie Lloyd. This week's episode is a great episode. Really, really excited about it. They got a new album coming out. Jesse Leach from Killswitch Engage. Their new album comes out next month. Jesse, a fellow New Englander, we spent a lot of time talking about Rhode Island and mass hole things, but we also talk a lot about metal, the metal community. We talk about AI and technology. We talk about songwriting. We talk about all the different eras of Killswitch Engage. This is their 26th year as a band. So there's a ton of stuff that we talk about on this week's episode. It's a great episode. If you're a Killswitch Engage fan, you are absolutely going to love this episode. As a reminder, when you subscribe to the Mistress Carrie podcast, you not only get the weekly episodes that come out every Wednesday, but you also get the Sit Rep, which is all your rock news, music headlines, and entertainment updates in about 5 minutes every Monday through Friday. So you can get caught up with everything that's going on in music, but you can do it really quickly while you're having coffee in the morning and while you're dropping off the kids, and just know everything that's going on and then go about your day. If you're wondering where you can subscribe and listen to the podcast, all of the big podcast apps have the Mistress Carrie podcast. You can also listen to the audio episodes on YouTube, and also you can just go to mistresscarrie.com, find the episode you want to listen to, and click play for all the people that are not technologically proficient and just want to listen to the podcast as easily as possible. We are still holding on to 149 countries that are listening to the Mistress Carrie podcast. I have been holding out hope that over the holidays we were going to get to 150, but we have not yet. So 149 countries. Thank you guys so much for sharing the episodes, for posting the episodes, for commenting on the episodes to help feed the algorithms, because people are finding out about the podcast because of your interaction with the podcast. If you're celebrating your birthday today, you're sharing it with Jinx from Black Veil Brides, Kathy Valentine from the Go-Go's, and the living legend himself, Kenny Loggins. So if today's your birthday, cheers, happy birthday, happy unbirthday, Keith. Put your pants on. Tallman says, oh my God, great. Sophie rips it. If you haven't listened to the Sophie episode, the Sophie Lloyd episode, she is awesome. Jessica, I agree. She is absolutely beautiful, but she is so cool. We talked like right before New Year's, right around the holidays. She was in England at home, and we talked about the difference between like Christmas in the United States and Boxing Day in England, and like the weird little food traditions that they have and stuff. So she's really, really cool. It was the first time that I got to meet her, and she rips on guitar. She's getting ready to do her American solo debut in LA next week, I think. And you can expect a lot of things from Sophie Lloyd in the coming like months and year. It's going to be a big year for Sophie Lloyd. Some of the big things that got announced over the last few weeks: Led Zeppelin's official documentary, the first film in over 50 years that Led Zeppelin actually approved of. It's called Becoming Led Zeppelin. It hits theaters on Valentine's Day. The week before, it hits IMAX theaters, and the advance tickets, if you're a Zeppelin fan, are already on sale. Congratulations to Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross. They won their third Golden Globe for the original score for Challengers, and a lot of people are saying that they're a shoo-in for their third Oscar. And also the big announcement about Boston Calling. They not only have reconfigured the festival grounds, they have added more space, more bathrooms, more water stations, but they also have heard the criticism about the overcrowding, and they have completely reconfigured Boston Calling for 2025. The pre-sale tickets go on sale starting tomorrow, but you have to sign up via email at bostoncalling.com to be able to get the codes that you need for the pre-sale. That is the 3-day lineup. So the headliners are Luke Combs, Fall Out Boy and the Dave Matthews Band, but everybody from Sheryl Crow and T-Pain to Cage the Elephant and the Black Crows, all-time low. Public Enemy, Tom Morello is playing, Sublime is playing. So the lineup for Boston Calling Memorial Day weekend, the Harvard Athletic Complex, tickets go on sale starting tomorrow. And a bunch of shows have gotten announced. I'm going to run down some of them for you. As always, they are all on the concert calendar at mistresscarrie.com. We were talking about the Disturbed 25th anniversary tour with 3 Days Grace and Seven Dust. The aforementioned Deftones playing the Garden. Ghost is headlining the Garden. And of course, Linkin Park headlining the Garden on August 1st. I believe the Linkin Park show is sold out, but I believe there's tickets left available for the rest of them. The other big announcement that happened over the holidays, Silver Scream Con 4. Spencer Charnas and Ice Nine Kills announced they are bringing Silver Scream Con back to the DCU Center September 12th through the 14th. The tickets have not gone on sale yet, but they have big plans for the DCU Center for Silver Scream Con this year. So that is going to be a huge thing. If you were there this year or this past September, you know that there are definitely ways that they can expand. The concert was amazing. It's going to be a big year for Silver Scream Con. Cold Chamber with Fear Factory Twisted Wednesday 13 and Black Satellite are going to be at Big Night Live in Boston at the end of March. Then the Xfinity Center, we already know Rod Stewart and Cheap Trick and Papa Roach and Rise Against with Under Oath are already announced for the Xfinity Center. Bish says, looking forward to seeing Luke Combs. Eric says he is fantastic. Let's see. Is it just me or does Dave Matthews Band really stick out in that lineup? No, I think they want to have a really diverse festival, which I think is really cool, which was the whole purpose of these festival shows back in the day is to, like the original Woodstock, it was a cross section of all the different types of music. At the end of the month, Miles Kennedy and Tim Montana are going to be at the Brighton Music Hall on the 27th. So if you want to go and see some amazing music, please go see Miles Kennedy on his solo tour with Tim Montana. Hailstorm's Living Room Sessions is going to be at the MGM Springfield coming up on the 24th. Kerry King on his solo tour at Royale. Billy Gibbons at the Cabot Theater coming up February 13th. Dream Theater's big 40th anniversary. I can't believe it's been that long. At the Wang, March 15th. Heart's going to be at Foxwoods and the Aganis now that Ann Wilson is healthy again. There are people saying that Weird Al Yankovic is going to get nominated for induction into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame this year. I need to see that. Weird Al is going to be at the Wang and Foxwoods coming up later this year. AC/DC at Gillette on May 4th with the Pretty Reckless. I just saw a story today, the childhood home of Angus and Malcolm, that people thought was historically preserved, just got torn down in Australia to make way for $1 million developments of like McMansions, which was really sad to see. That story just broke today. Post Malone and Jelly Roll at Gillette at the end of May. Coldplay at Gillette for 2 shows coming up in July. So tons of shows getting announced. On Instagram, cannot wait for Disturbed. I saw them at the Hampton Beach Casino. There are a ton of shows that are going to get announced. And the guys in Disturbed, Goo Goo Dolls at Leader Bank Pavilion this summer, they have not even begun to announce all of the outdoor shows. My Chemical Romance at Fenway. But Disturbed says this is going to be their biggest production, their biggest tour ever. Blackberry Smoke and The Plot in You at the Palladium with more shows coming. Blackberry Smoke, by the way, collaborating with Jesse Leach from Killswitch Engage. Jack White's going to be at Roadrunner next month. 2 shows on the No Name Tour. And Jack White's Third Man Records just released Ringo Starr's solo album, or it's coming out this Friday. MGM Music Hall at Fenway, Joe Bonamassa, The Dropkicks, Nathaniel Rateliff and the Night Sweats, Spirit Box, Trivium and Bullet for My Valentine, the postponed Queens of the Stone Age shows. Pixies are going to be there in July. Tallman says, wow, I saw Weird Al back in the 80s. Weird Al at the Wang. Yeah, it's going to be amazing. House of Blues has got Jerry Cantrell and Filter coming up on February 4th. The Dropkicks on St. Patrick's Day. Poppy, who is nominated for the Best Metal Performance Grammy for her collaboration with Knocked Loose. She might be the first woman to win Best Metal Performance Grammy. Spirit Box nominated in the same category. 3 out of the 5 nominees have women represented, so there's a really good chance that a woman is going to be part of the Best Metal Performance Grammy for the first time ever, which is very cool. The Used playing 3 different albums on 3 different nights at the House of Blues coming up in April. Let me see. Quicksand, the Linda Lindas and Melvins and Napalm Death all headed to the Paradise Rock Club. Eric says, Weird Al and his Wang. Oh my God. You said Wang, says Keith. Beavis laugh. You said Wang. Yes, I said Wang, you perverts. Tom Hamilton is going to be with his band Close Enemies on Friday night at City Winery Boston. That show is sold out. They're doing like a month's worth of shows. They debuted live in October in Nashville. And this is Tom Hamilton's kind of new project. So also new releases out this Friday. Franz Ferdinand, The Human Fear, Ringo Starr's new solo album, Look Up, and Mark Tremonti's band Tremonti releasing their new album, The End Will Show Us How. The mail call, guys. First of all, the cards, the packages, the stuff that you guys have sent me around the passing of my mom has been overwhelming. There's no way I can read the sympathy cards because I'll lose it, but just know that not only did I read them all, but we had all of the cards that the family received out at the house because everybody came back here after the services. And so everybody was reading all of the cards. So just know that everybody in the family read all of your cards. And it was just mind-blowing, the amount of mail and the things that we received from you guys is overwhelming. There is some stuff, but we're going to do mail call next week because it's so late already. So just know that if you sent me stuff about my mom, the flowers you guys sent, the cards that you guys sent, we got them all. They were amazingly touching and thoughtful. And I cannot thank you guys enough for just being so gracious and wonderful. If you don't have a Mistress Carrie Backstage Pass, you are missing out. Mistress Carrie Backstage Pass holders, our monthly live stream is coming up this Sunday at 7:30. So I have more stories to tell you. That's coming up on Sunday. If you get a Backstage Pass, you also find out who's going to be on the podcast before anybody else, so you can submit questions. You get travel blog updates, early access to event information and tickets, exclusive concert ticket giveaways. Now, the Tom Hamilton show at City Winery Boston is sold out on Friday night, but Mistress Carrie Backstage Pass holders have access to free tickets. So if you have a Backstage Pass, you have access to free tickets to see Tom Hamilton at City Winery this Friday. You know what to do. Log into Patreon. You know what to do. You also get merch discount codes for new merch in the online Mistress Carrie store, which a lot of those plans around the holidays got put on hold for obvious reasons. Just recapping all of the different places you can find me on social media and online, and all of the radio stations that you can listen to me online as well. 98 Rock, 106.3 The Bone, The Pike, obviously. All the links are at mistresscarrie.com. So super easy to find me. And once again, just a plug for our online group, the Mistress Carrie Veterans Rock Group on Facebook. It is a public group for all things military supporting, veterans initiatives, nonprofits, veteran-owned businesses. If you're looking to hire veterans, if you've got a charity event, if you are searching for resources, if you have questions because you have a veteran in your life, join the Mistress Carrie Veterans Rock Group on Facebook. And that's it, guys. We'll do mail call next week. Jesse Leach from Kill Switch Engage is on episode 240 of the podcast, which goes live at midnight tonight. Michael says, don't be dumb, be a Mistress Carrie pass hole. You guys are clever. The dogs are sleeping. They say goodnight. Thanks to Ian from Real Rock TV for joining us on episode 300. Before I let you guys go, There is no way that we could ever have imagined on March 14th of 2020 that we would hit 300 episodes. We definitely could have imagined technical problems, obviously. But the idea that we have been in this room talking through life's issues and our triumphs and our highs and lows for 300 episodes is kind of insane. So you guys are amazing. Thank you for all of the love and support. When we did the last show before the holidays, I told you guys that I wished nothing but love and family time and a fantastic new year. My family has gone through a tremendous loss over the last few weeks, and I will never forget how much love that we've received from you guys. I am hoping that 2025 is bringing amazing things for all of us. So to 300 more episodes, guys. Cheers to you guys. Thank you for this amazing journey that we've been on. Sorry I kept you so late, but 300 episodes in, we're allowed to go long every once in a while. Good night, guys. I'll see you guys next week. Good night. Good night, Pug.